Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to Gamerjoob, and welcome back to our Poppy Playtime character concept series. So in today's video, the character looking into is Sweet Sheep. So this is a special Smiling Critters character that was designed by the artist Amber Loves Bugs. Amber is also the artist who designed all the original Smiling Critters as well. And what's even cooler is that Sweet Sheep was designed after the YouTuber Sheep Rampage. So even though Amber has made the original design for the Sweet Sheep character, we've gone ahead and made our own in-game version of the character as well. We've also made a story for the character as to imagine what it would be like if they were in the game. Alrighty, well with that all out of the way, let's get into the character concept of Sweet Sheep. So previously in our Poppy Playtime character concept series, we've been looking into the Forgotten Critters. These are the smiling critter characters that were meant to replace Catnap, but unfortunately, they never made the cut. In the last video, our main protagonist fell from a wooden plank and landed in the dark depths of the Playtime Cove factory. And it's in this dark domain that the Forgotten Critters call their home. The player met the first forgotten character, Patience Panda. They desperately tried to survive against this evil panda, Smiling Critter, and in the end they managed to get out in one piece. But as they try to find a way back to the surface, they are sure to meet another forgotten critter. But as to if this character will be good or evil, they'll just have to wait and see. So as we covered in our last video, Playtime Co designed a number of new smiling critter characters that would replace Catnap. With the recall of all the Catnap toys and the removal of his character from the TV show, Playtime Co scrambled quickly to come up with as many new designs as they could. Some of these ideas were great, and some others not so much, but regardless, for some unknown reason, these characters never saw the light of day. But an example of one great idea was Sweet Sheep. A sweetheart of a character, Sweet Sheep is the outgoing listener of the critters, always being the one to go out and observe the outdoors, often has a tendency to be a bit rambunctious when excited, scent sage. So hence the name, he seems to be quite a sweet and outgoing character, and Sweet Sheep was definitely a shoo-in to replace Catnap as the new character, but unfortunately that never happened. Just before the announcement of his acceptance into the critter crew, he mysteriously disappeared. No one knows exactly what happened. Most of the workers blame Catnap for his disappearance, but it's not known exactly who is behind this incident. And now poor Sweet Sheep dwells in the depths of the factory. Will he be as sweet as he once was? The player will find out soon enough. Speaking of, we now return to the player. After searching around this dark, forgotten area, they still haven't found a way back to the surface. But it looks like they found a new abandoned location. Maybe there's a way up in this area. This place seems to be an old sawmill. Back in the day, Playtime Co produced a number of old wooden toys, and this was the place where they would process all the wood. All around them were large machines with multiple saws. These saws would have sliced through hundreds to thousands of wooden logs every day. The player had no idea that a sawmill was even down here. It looks like these machines haven't been active for quite a while, but the player gets the sense that someone is down here with them. They need to find a way back to the surface quickly before they find out who it is. As they make their way through this area, they get a glimpse of something in the distance. It seems like whoever it is, they appear to be hiding from the player. That's kinda strange. It's usually the other way around. It doesn't seem like this toy character is hostile at all. Maybe they can show the player how to get out of this sawmill and back to the surface. So the player slowly starts to track down this mysterious character. Every time the player moves forward, this shy toy backs away. Eventually the player finds them in a secluded area and they can get a better look at them. This smiling critter was quite different from his cartoon and toy version. He was much taller and hunched over, but the most noticeable detail was his horns. They've grown so long that they've pierced straight through his body. Sweet Sheep can't move his head and he seems to be in a lot of pain. He must have been down here for quite a while, and all this time spent down in the darkness has changed and morphed his body. The player can't leave him like this. They need to help poor Sweet Sheep, and hopefully in return, he would help the player get out of here. But how is the player going to remove these overgrown horns out of his body? It seems like they would need to be cut and trimmed. But they couldn't use the large timber saws for such a delicate job. They would run the risk of causing much more damage to poor Sweet Sheep. But it seems like Sweet Sheep has an idea. He prompts the player to follow him through the sawmill. Maybe he knows something that can help, but he needs the player's help as well. So the player and Sweet Sheep make their way through the sawmill. They need to be careful of multiple dangerous obstacles in their way. Some parts of this area are still operational, and that means the saws are still operational as well. Both the player and Sweet Sheep need to dodge the active saw blades and falling wooden logs. At some obstacles, the player would need to press a series of buttons in order to cut the power. The saw blades would stop and retract, and both of them could pass through safely. Eventually, after making it through all the deadly obstacles, they arrive at the equipment room. This is where all the workers would equip their GrabPacks and get to work. But in the sawmill, these workers had a different kind of GrabPack. These were special saw hand GrabPacks that were used for cutting all the wood. They had an extendable saw blade and could be used for more precise cutting. And luckily for the player, there was one saw attachment left, but it was locked behind a case and the grab switch was damaged. The player needs to find another way that they can retrieve this saw hand. They soon realise they need to reroute the power in order to overload the switch. With enough power supplied, it releases the lock and the player equips the saw hand. Finally, they can help Sweet Sheep and trim off those overgrown horns. But this wouldn't be so simple. The player needs to be extra careful to keep the blade still on his horns and not let it slide off and damage him. In order to do this, they would need to control the speed of the blade. If they go too fast, it wouldn't end very well. So the blade starts sawing away at Sweet Sheep's horns, and the player is being extra careful to keep them straight. The horns are made of an extra tough material, and it's definitely a challenge to cut through them. The saw blade starts overheating and smoking. Finally, the first horn has been trimmed. And now they move on to the second one. The saw blade is looking pretty beat up. Hopefully it can get through the last horn. It starts sawing away, and finally the last horn is trimmed. But as for the saw hand, it's totally ruined. The player throws it away, and now all that's left to do is extract these horn segments. The player grabs on and pulls them out of Sweet Sheep's body. Finally, he can move around comfortably. He feels so much better and is completely indebted to the player. In order to show his thanks, he leads the player to the exit door. Finally, they can get out of this sawmill and continue their journey to the surface. They say their goodbyes to Sweet Sheep and head on to the next area. The player was lucky this time that they encountered a friendly character like Sweet Sheep, but as if the next one they'll meet will be the same, they'll just have to wait and see. So I think that Sweet Sheep would be a great character to add to the Forgotten Critters. It's pretty awesome that this secret character was made by Amber Loves Bugs and is modelled after Sheep Rampage. I think it would have been pretty cool if this character was included in the original lineup of the Smiling Critter characters. But even so, it's still fun to imagine what his role could be if he was included in the game. But regardless, I think that Sweet Sheep is definitely an awesome character, that's for sure. Alrighty everyone, well that's all we have for today's video, I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting, and subscribing as it helps a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of our version of Sweet Sheep and what you'd like to see going forward. Alrighty everyone, well to the next video, we'll catch you later, bye.